Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I don't know how you got here, but I do hope that you'll stay until the end because in this particular video, we're going to talk about spheres. Now, what is a sphere? All right. A sphere is a 3D shape that has a surface that is formed by an indefinite amount of points, creating a round shell, and all of these points are all equidistant to a central point. So as you can see here on the screen, we have what is called a sphere. Okay. Uh, the sphere consists of also the radius and the diameter. The radius is the length from the center of the sphere to a point on the shell of the sphere. So any point on the shell of the sphere, that distance is the radius. The diameter, on the other hand, is the full length of a line beginning from a point on the outer shell, going through the center of the sphere, and ending on a point opposite of the outer shell of the same sphere. Okay, so that's that full distance right there. We can use this information to find the surface area of the sphere. So the surface area is basically the whole area of the sphere if we were to flatten it out. And the best way to find the surface area of that sphere is if we actually do flatten it out. And we're going to do that by breaking it into a bunch of triangles. So as you can see here, starting with the same sphere, we just keep breaking it down, and breaking it down until we get a bunch of triangles. And we're going to use these triangles to form a different shape, which is a rectangle. So in actuality, it's more of a parallelogram because it's kind of at a slight angle. The sides are at a slight angle. But in essence, what we're trying to do by breaking down this sphere into a bunch of triangles is we're trying to get as close to a rectangle as possible because the area of a rectangle is equal to length times width. Okay, and that simplifies the situation we have with the sphere. So we're trying to find an equation that we can find the surface area of the sphere. And when we break it down into this, we can find that. So the long side of this rectangle is actually equal to the circumference. And I'm going to prove that in just a second. And the short side of this is equal to the diameter of the sphere, or 2 times radius, which I will also prove in a moment. Let's start with the circumference, the long part of this rectangle. So what we can actually do is we can return this we can turn this form into a cylinder. And we know that this top portion right here, we use the way we came up with this form is we actually started flattening out the circle, right? So if we wrap it all around again, then that means that the top and bottom portions of this cylinder is the perimeter is equal to the circumference of the sphere. Okay, and the circumference of the sphere is 2 pi r, or radius times diameter, or pi times diameter. Okay, and we can say that the height of this cylinder is equal to the diameter, or 2 times r. So in order to prove that this is actually equal to the diameter, in this next scene, we're going to see that I have taken the same sphere, I've cut it in half. So half of a sphere is called a hemisphere. And here on the right side, I've formed 3 triangles. So I've cut up this hemisphere into 3 equal portions in terms of height. And then I have 3 triangles here on the side. Now we're going to take these triangles and we're going to use the equation to find the area of a triangle to figure out how to reassemble these triangles. So we can prove that when we flatten out the circle, the height will become the same length as the diameter. So to find the area of a triangle, we use the equation 1/2 base times height. So as you can see here, if we're going to use the right side of the triangles as the bases, and we cut it in half, we can then form more rectangles. Okay, so this triangle becomes this rectangle, this one becomes that one, and this one becomes that one. And furthermore, we can assess that the full height, so we have the hemisphere, which means the full height is equal to the radius. That will be cut in half. Each of those triangles will be cut in half to find their areas. But that can also prove that here, so we can take the 3 rectangles that were formed from the 3 triangles. And since all of the bases were cut in half, we know that that's 1/2 radius. And since this is coming from the hemisphere of the original sphere, 2 radius is equal to diameter. So that's how we prove that uh, what we had earlier is correct. The 2 radius and the 2 pi r. Okay, and that brings us to how we find the surface area. Because when we put 2 radius and times that by 2 pi r, we get 4 pi r squared. And that is the equation we use in order to find the surface area of a sphere. Okay, now let's go into some more difficult territory. We're going to find the volume of a sphere. Once again, we have to break down this sphere into smaller shapes in order to find the correct formula. Okay, and what we do is we can actually break it down into a bunch of triangles. So if you've ever heard of a geodesic dome, it's actually a bunch of triangles that create a hemisphere, right? Or you can also create a full sphere. And with this, we're actually just going to use this triangle, this pyramid, triangular pyramid as an example. So the equation in order to find the volume of a pyramid is 1/3 base times height. Okay, so when we talk about the base of the pyramid, we're talking about this portion right here, this triangle at the very end, at the bottom of the pyramid, okay? And the base is equal to the area of this portion right here. When we talk about 1/3 base times height, base is equal to the area of this. Height is equal to the radius, or the height is equal to the full height of this pyramid that we pulled out, okay? And in this instance, it is equal to the radius. So what does that mean for us? Because we already have the area. The area of a sphere, the surface area of a sphere is 4 pi r squared, okay? And the radius of a sphere is simply the radius. So now we have to plug it into the equation of the pyramid, which is 1/3 base times height, which will give us 4/3 pi r cubed. When we put it all together, it's 4/3 pi r cubed. And that's what will give us the volume of a sphere. Okay, I know it's a lot to absorb, but I hope you did learn something from this video. If you do have any questions, feel free to comment down below. If you have any objections, you're also free to comment down below. But anyways, with that said, I hope you guys always take care. I hope we can always better ourselves. And until next time, bye bye.